My name is Ethan James, and this is the story of how I was unseen and how I finally took control of my life. The email hit at exactly noon on July 4th. This year's Independence Day will be for the immediate family only. Immediate family. At 31, I still didn't qualify. My brother Ryan, 2 years older, already had the perfect wife, kids, and job. Everyone admired. And me, the so-called problem, the one they didn't think was enough to celebrate with. I stared at the screen, feeling a mix of disbelief and quiet fury. I reread her words, sipping the cold espresso I had brought from my loft in downtown Seattle. We know you're busy with your work, but we hope you understand. Understand? Sure, I understood perfectly. For years I had been overlooked. The quiet one. The kid who loved tech and never went anywhere fancy. My brother Ryan, meanwhile, got all the spotlight. The perfect family, the impressive career, the family's golden child. I knew exactly where they were celebrating. Cascade Ridge Lodge, a secluded lakeside. Retreat with cabins so polished they looked like magazine covers. A family's only retreat, and me excluded. I typed back a simple reply. Have a wonderful Independence Day. No drama, no guilt, just acceptance. Almost like I was letting them have exactly what they wanted. A family celebration without me. I smiled, sipping my espresso, feeling the irony. They wanted distance. I was about to give it to them on my terms. By mid-afternoon, my phone buzzed. Ryan had already started posting photos online. There was my mother, perfect as ever, standing in the lodge's grate. Hallfather toasting with a sparkling drink. Ryan and his wife posing by the massive stone fireplace. The caption screamed perfection. A flawless Independence Day getaway. Meanwhile, I sat in my office overlooking the city skyline. To the world, I was Ethan James, 31, founder of Verdant Stays, a chain of boutique eco-hotels. I had built from scratch, turning neglected properties into thriving, sustainable escapes. To them, I was still Ethan, the quiet kid who liked computers. I called my executive assistant, Caleb. Pull up the James. Family reservation at Cascade Ridge, the presidential cabin, right? Caleb hesitated. It's fully booked, sir. Perfect, I said, suppressing a grin. We'll relocate them within minutes. Ryan was in a frenzy. Ethan, what's going on? They are moving us out of our cabin. Booking error, I said, calm as ever. You'll be in the Lakeview units instead. Still beautiful, but standard accommodations. The irony was almost too perfect. My family had excluded me for being ordinary. Now they were about to discover what it felt like to be treated. Like ordinary guests, not the privileged, exclusive family they imagined themselves to be. The calls and messages started flooding in. Mom was flustered. Dad was muttering about lawyers. And Ryan's wife sounded like she might cry from frustration. And me? I watched it all unfold from the rooftop terrace of my flagship hotel, where guests sipped herbal cocktails and gazed at the reclaimed forest I had restored. Ethan, this is insane, Ryan groaned over the phone. We paid for the presidential cabin. You can't just... Booking error, I repeated, my voice calm. It's been corrected. You'll be moved to the Lakeview units tonight. He froze. Lakeview units? That's basic. We wanted exclusivity, Ethan. We planned this whole trip around it. I let a small smile creep in. For years they dismissed me, assumed I was not successful enough, excluded me from their celebrations. Now they were getting a taste of the very thing they thought they deserved. Humility. The text kept coming. Mom, this is ridiculous. Speak to the manager. Dad, we'll need legal counsel if this isn't resolved immediately. Ryan's wife, our perfect Independence Day is ruined. I did not intervene. I just watched, a quiet observer. And for the first time, my family was seeing what it felt like to be treated as ordinary, to have the exclusivity they prized so highly stripped away. By evening, the chaos had reached a fever pitch. Ryan was pacing, phone glued to his ear. Mom's voice was tight with worry. Dad's frustration practically radiated through every message. And me? I leaned against the balcony railing of my penthouse office, watching the city lights shimmer over the river, thinking about all the years I had been overlooked. Ryan finally called again, exasperation bleeding through every word. Ethan, what's happening? Why are they moving us? We paid for everything. I let a pause stretch long enough to make him uncomfortable. A lesson, I said quietly. Sometimes people need to feel what exclusion really is before they can understand inclusion. He laughed nervously. Exclusion from a cabin? Come on, this is insane. The irony was not lost on me. My family had spent decades judging me, assuming I was not enough, leaving me out of celebrations, dismissing my work. Now they were experiencing firsthand the sting of being treated as ordinary instead of special. And in that moment I realized just how powerful subtle control could be, how the world could shift in a single phone call, a single decision when someone had quietly built the means to influence it. Later that night, my mother called, her voice trembling. "Ethan, there's something we didn't understand. We made a mistake." I waited, letting the weight of her words settle. "Mistake?" I asked, calm and controlled. "Yes, excluding you. We didn't realize." Her pause spoke volumes. By the time they arrived at the Lakeview units, the kids were laughing, exploring the eco-friendly activities I had personally designed, enjoying the fresh, locally sourced meals and marveling at the sustainable lodges. Ryan's wife wiped away tears, not from frustration but from surprise. How thoughtful everything was. They had expected ordinary. They were receiving care, attention, and comfort that went far beyond what they had anticipated, and the truth hit them slowly. The person they had dismissed for years, the ordinary sibling, was the one who had built the entire experience they had come to enjoy. I finally stepped out to meet them, calm, composed. "Welcome to your Independence Day," I said. Their eyes widened as the realization sank in. I wasn't just part of the family. I was the force behind everything they had praised. The exclusivity, the comfort, the beauty, it all had my fingerprints on it. And in that moment, the balance shifted. The overlooked sibling was now the one in control, quietly teaching them what it felt like to be underestimated. That night I walked the quiet lodge paths, the lights of the cabins twinkling like stars over the lake. I thought about all the years I'd been overlooked, underestimated, labeled not enough. And yet in that moment I realized something important. My success was not about recognition. It was about creating something meaningful, something that made a difference. My family had learned the value of humility, inclusion, and perspective. They had finally felt what it was like to be treated as ordinary. And in doing so, they began to see me for who I truly was. I leaned against the railing, watching the children play, the laughter echoing across the water. I had built more than hotels, more than businesses. I had built experiences, memories, and quiet lessons that even my family could not ignore. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. The next morning, I watched my family pack up, heading out for another day of activities I had designed. I didn't need their praise. They finally understood. Sometimes the best lessons are not taught with words. They are felt. As I stood there, the early sunlight sparkling off the lake, I realized this Independence Day had given us all something far more valuable than exclusivity or grandeur: perspective, belonging, and the quiet power of being truly seen. And as they waved goodbye, I could not help but smile. Next year, everyone would be included. And they finally knew that success comes in many forms, and being underestimated can be the perfect setup for the greatest reveal.